welcome to Noni, Yanga's flagship talk show where we discuss all the hot topics. Today we take a look at the controversial issue of colorism and its effects within the black community. Joining me today, social media personality Zizi Mills and presenter Monica Lee. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Nice to have you back, Monica. Zizi, be easy on me, okay? Now, colorism is the prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. It's a debate that's centuries old. However, it has recently sparked heated debates on social media due to the lack of dark-skinned black women in leading roles in film, TV and music videos. Now, fans of this show will remember when we discussed the uproar surrounding TV presenter Maya Jama after a tweet she posted 6 years ago resurfaced. The tweet saw her laughing at a joke from a comedian that poked fun at dark-skinned women. Hollywood has also been under scrutiny for the lack of positive portrayals of dark-skinned black women, and in recent times the same can be said for the music industry here in the UK. Is this issue of colorism still being perpetuated by the entertainment industry? Zizi, let me come to you first. For some reason, very few people have discussed the issues of colorism on mainstream media, unless there's one incident like with Maya Jama or with Leslie Jones and her being ousted kind of from Twitter. It's not really a common debate. Why do you think this is?
I think people are still shying away from it. We're very aware, well, in the mainstream media, they're very aware of racism, but I think they don't even understand when they are practicing colorism. I've been doing acting from a young age, so I know that, you know, you go to an audition and there might be a role for a black family, and when you go to that audition, there'll be mixed race girls, there'll be lighter skin girls, there'll be darker skin girls, and more often they'll probably go for the mixed race girl because they feel like, you know, that is what is deemed as more prettier, or that is what is deemed as more socially acceptable. Because if you think about it, black people were only really a small percentage in the UK.
Yeah.
So
outside London is an illusion, right?
Exactly, yeah. So imagine that. If you want to appeal to a wider audience, who are you going to pick? Are you going to pick the mixed race girl that a white person can still identify with? Or are you going to pick a darker skinned woman that people are probably going to be like, whoa, what's going on here? So I don't know if they actually know that they're practicing it or they're doing it, but it definitely is something that I'm glad that is
it's out on the mainstream, and this is the
Yeah.
reason why we're discussing it. Monica, Zizi spoke about within the entertainment industry, which is typically run by lots of white people. What about within our own community? Because colorism, as I said at the top, is really something that's faced within ourselves, you know. Don't have to bring back slavery, but we've got to when we're talking about this. And the fact that, you know, light-skinned people were preferred in the house. And then there were jokes amongst slaves, and then it's just been carried through African-American history. So do you think black people have a responsibility about this issue too?
Oh, definitely, yes. They do have responsibility, but I feel like what we need to realise and understand that in the media, a lot of black people are looking to a lot of different figures in the media, and I think it's very important for black women, also black men, to kind of represent and showcase that black is beautiful. Doesn't matter the colour of your skin. We can go on Twitter and have a war saying, oh, black is this, or light skin. You can have that darky versus, which I think is a very derogative term, but we have to be honest with ourselves. The reason why people are continuing speaking about the colour of their skin is because a lot of people are allowing them to, and because people are not really shunning them, and that's why they feel like it's acceptable. So I think it's our responsibility as individuals, and also for society and people in the entertainment business, to make sure that it's their prerogative to continue discuss why it's so important not to kind of put black people or dark skin against each other.
Again, it's
different,
awful, isn't
yeah,
it? You've
different
got team
shades
this
against
and
each
team
other.
that. Let's talk about the UK industry, music as one. Gets, who I love. Gets from the ends. Shout out Gets, East London, Plaistow. But I do love him. And I was surprised because people that have been following him for a long time knew that he was kind of like, I would say, team light skin. You look at his older videos and his older girlfriends. But recently, with his latest album, he's been speaking out against this. And I would say speaking out against his fellow kind of rappers.
I think what's happening with Gets is that he now has a daughter that is of a darker skin complexion. So he now is maybe seeing it firsthand. And if anyone saw that little video that he done, the voiceover of his daughter was saying, "Daddy, how comes there's no
dolls
people, that look like me?" And I think in a way, it's really nice. I'm happy that he's done this.
Were you shocked?
I wasn't shocked because
Okay.
I just feel like it. As much as people kind of want to get onto me for talking about it and calling people out, I do feel like it's resonating with people.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's sad. It's not sad. It's sad that for men to understand, or black men to understand, it's like it either has to be their daughter that is dark skinned. Like, you should be able to have the emotional capacity and brain capacity
Anyway.
to understand that there's an issue, not just because, oh, it's going to affect my daughter, now I want to speak out about it. But I'm glad that he did, because a lot of people took notice of what Getz was saying. So, and it's annoying because it's like, but I've been saying this. I've been saying this all the
Zizi
time.
has been saying it. That's why you're here. Yeah, you have been the spokeswoman for it, and it's good. But do you agree then, both of you, that dark-skinned women, through music lyrics, through music visuals, have been degraded?
Oh, yes.
Have been made to feel less beautiful, less worthy?
110%.
Why?
Because I just don't think, if we're being honest with each other, like, dark-skinned women are not deemed as beautiful. We're not.
Yeah.
If we're going to be honest and raw, like,
You say we. Do you consider yourself to be dark-skinned?
I consider myself to be dark-skinned because I'm not light-skinned. So there's this, then people started coming with all this rubbish to me as well, like, oh, but you're not even dark-skinned. I'm like, okay, but I'm not light-skinned. All this like, oh, you're mocha, you're, it's like, hello,
Yeah.
like, what, it's too much. It's either you're light-skinned or you're of a darker skin tone. There's no this.
I would say people would look at you, Zizi, and think that you were light-skinned.
No.
Really? I would say you were definitely light-skinned, but not even a team light-skin privilege thing. I would think that both of you were light-skinned, no?
No, I would.
People will deem me as brown skin, but at the end of the day, when people are looking at me on the outside, I'm seen as a black woman.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
regardless whatever shade they see me, I feel like it's my duty and my responsibility to be able to let black women know that regardless of your race, regardless of your shade of your skin color, that these are the things that are still happening, and they're still kind of putting us down and using
Yeah.
derogative terms. And even when you went back to the talking about black women seeing negative, if you see a lot of videos, especially in the past, the light-skinned women were seen at the front, and if there was a black woman involved,
telling you.
more times it was she was causing a problem, she's a troubled person. Do you know what I mean? She's always seen as a negative woman. She was never seen as the marketable type. Hence why you always see the lighter shades at the front of most entertainment industry. And I feel like a lot of people need to understand, when it comes to black women being marketed, people feel as if that it's only a certain complexion.
That
Yes.
is marketable.
You're right, you're right.
And people, I've been talking about music videos, and people are getting my message a bit messed up. It's not like I'm saying, oh, I want girls to be in the video shaking their bum and etc. etc.
Yeah.
And this is what we should aspire to, because no, that's not what you should aspire to. But if you want to do that, but a lot of people need to understand that. I'm sure Monica can vouch, like, when you're starting out in your career, whether it's you're a dancer, if you're an actor or anything, a lot of times music videos, these are like your foot in the door.
Yes,
Especially if you want to be a
yes,
dancer,
yes.
like, you have to be able to show somebody a show reel and say, this is me dancing in this person's video, this is me, I know what it's like to be on set, I've experienced this, I've been on tour. And imagine you can't even get that experience because you're not deemed as beautiful. So it's not about being, aspiring to be a video girl. It's about, a lot of people take even men
Opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And given the same, literally, like you said, the same opportunity as other black women that are of a lighter shade. And even Ray Black kind of summed it up amazingly. She said within, I think, BBC One Extra Talk, saying that at the beginning, all the producers were saying, stick to songwriting. You don't need to be at the forefront. Black women of a dark skin complexion are not motivated, are not supported to be themselves.
terrible.
And it's like their talent is always being overshadowed because of the colour of their skin. And that's what we need to try and get out there. It shouldn't depend on how you look. It should depend on your talent. And I feel like this is a social construct that's going to continuously keep going on because people are enabling it.
What about the Maya Jama? You were on the panel
Yeah.
actually when we spoke about it last season. Zizi, what did you think of Maya Jama's tweet?
At the time when she probably done it, there was always that light skin, dark skin thing, and people thought it was okay to make fun of dark skinned girls and whatever. My problem necessarily was with the repercussions of what she done.
Okay.
Because I'm sure,
She got more gigs because Maya Jama's on every channel,
well, this is what I'm saying. So, like, if this was, Reggie Yates got supposedly stepped down gracefully from Top of the Pops, but we all know they probably said, listen, we'll let you step down gracefully, or we're going to have to, because he said something about Jewish, he made a comment about Jewish people. Also, the same happened with DJ Logan Sama. He got taken off One Extra because some old tweets resurfaced of him talking about angry black women. So my thing is, if you're going to have one rule for one person, then that one rule should echo throughout.
Why do you think Maya Jama wasn't punished in a way you would deem to be proper.
And then, because I think it just solidifies where black women are in society, that you can't talk, you can never speak about the LGBT community. If she spoke about it, she would have been gone.
She'd be done.
If she spoke about the Jewish community, she would have been gone. And if she spoke about dark-skinned women, it's, oh, you know, hee ha ha, it's fine, whatever. Do you get what I mean? So it just tells us that this is where we are in the pecking order. We're not very high up. They don't really care. So that's why I think people have a social responsibility. Whether these rappers, you don't want to be role models, okay, well, tough luck, you are now. That's what's happened. You've got a huge platform. It's your duty now to show a representation of all
Put us on a platform.
Yeah.
Put us in your next video, Bizzle or Gets or whoever's watching. But still to come, we continue our discussion by looking at the effects and consequences of light skin privilege. See you after the break. Welcome back to Nonny. Now, light skin privilege is a term used to describe the privilege that some black people have as a result of their lighter complexion. The common understanding for the reason of this privilege is the perceived proximity to whiteness. Celebrities like Beyonce and Halle Berry are often referred to when discussing these privileges, with Beyonce's father also putting her success down to the colour of her skin. Social media hashtags like Team Light Skin and Team Dark Skin are yet another example emphasising the divide in the black community based solely on their shade of melanin. Actress Zendaya Coleman has recently spoken out about how she believes her light skin affords her privilege in the entertainment industry. She also revealed that she feels a responsibility as a light-skinned black woman to use her platform to provoke change. How important is it to acknowledge light-skin privilege in the black community, and does it even exist? That was a mouthful. Does it exist, light-skin privilege? We have to be careful because we don't want to do our light-skinned sisters an injustice. Do you know what I mean?
110%. And that's something that I definitely want to clarify. When I speak about, you know, uplifting darker skinned women, it's not to bring down light skinned women. And I have seen that a lot in my comments where lighter skinned women are a bit like, well, why are you trying to, I spoke about the intent and that, you know, all the leads, well, all the like love interests were light skinned.
Yes.
And, you know, some people got upset and why are you trying to take roles away from light skinned women? And it's not that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, you got two love interests, then maybe pick one dark skin, one light skin. It's very easy. It's like, you know, 1, 2 divided, it's one each. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm trying to take away from anyone or even blame lighter skinned women. I don't actually think it's lighter skinned. My responsibility, I think it should rely on the men.
Yes.
It's the entertainers, it's black men,
People
that
of power, people in
that
power.
are putting these lighter skinned women on pedestals. It's not their fault. It's not their fault they were born of a lighter skin tone. Do you get what I mean? So
I completely get, and I totally agree with you. I follow you.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of all your work, Azizi. Monica, is there a thing as light skin privilege though? Does it actually exist?
I personally feel like it does exist, and I feel like everyone needs to understand their own privilege. So, for example, when I'm not wearing makeup, I am looked at totally different in comparison to where I'm
You're more
wearing makeup.
approachable, right?
Do you know what I mean? I'll be getting numbers, I'll be getting things thrown at me. Without my makeup, the privilege isn't there. And I've realised that as a woman, more times, I might have to enhance certain beauty just to make sure that I get that role, or to make sure that I am seen in the light how I want to be seen. And when it comes to, obviously, light skin privilege and light skin privilege, I feel like it does exist. Like you said, it's more marketable maybe to see a fairer skin or a lighter skin complexion. And I feel like every woman needs to understand certain privileges and internalize it, and not use it as a weapon to kind of fight against everyone else. We're not being non-lighty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being like
Non-lighty, is that a term?
I don't know, but I'm saying it now.
Just say hashtag non-lighty.
I'm not trying to, but it's like racism. Just because I'm being pro-black, it doesn't mean that I'm anti-white.
Yes.
And people just need to understand certain contexts and stop taking it so personal. And I feel like this country, everyone in the UK is so personal with everything.
Really?
Just 110%. Like my you know Lynn. Like
Yes.
that's one of that's like my closest friend, and she's a lighter skinned female. So I see it firsthand. Like
Wow.
I'm with her
When you
a
go
lot.
out?
When we go out a lot. When it comes to actually opportunities, people like directors have like slid in her DMs and said, "Oh, we want you to read for this film." And she's like, "I don't act though." And they're like, "Oh, doesn't? Oh, yeah, we just want you to come in to read it." She's literally been, "Oh, my friend Z, she acts. She can come in and read for it." "Oh, no, we just want you to come in." And this is like, I'm hearing it and seeing it firsthand. So when people are like, oh, you're in your feelings, like, this is not made up in my mind. Like, I roll with someone that is of a lighter skin tone.
This is actually happening from Hollywood down to the back streets of the East End.
Yeah.
We all know that, you know, it happens. But what about people that say, that's just my preferences? I like light-skinned girls, or, you know, I want a light-skinned girl for this role. Is that not okay?
Boring. Without...
When it comes to the media industry, I feel like people in power have that opportunity and also have, how can I say, that kind of commitment to kind of showcase different shades of black women. And it's not about preference when it comes to work. It's about, can you do the job?
Yeah.
That's all I want to hear. Like, if you want to, if the woman is amazing and she's of a lighter complexion, perfectly fine. But what I've been seeing lately, like, for example, in a lot of books, people are kind of reenacting the books, making them into movies. And you know that the main actress or actor is black, dark skin. Do you know what I mean? And they're not enhancing that. Instead,
like Zoe Saldana, she was in what's that biopic? Nina Simone, and people are like, come on, this is just ridiculous.
And you made her look darker. What the hell? Just get a dark one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
and she was
true.
unapologetic about it.
Yeah, preference to me is it's just a bit tricky, because a lot of men, I don't really care, like Monica said, what you do in your personal life. It's when you use what you use your platform for.
Yes.
So I don't really want to hear about your preference, like you said, when it comes to the women that you pick for your videos. But talking about preference with dating and black men, a lot of black men, your preference is because you've been conditioned. You've been conditioned
Preach, Zizzy Mills.
to like lighter skinned women.
Yes.
Not at your own fault, but that's what it's been pushed on you from the rappers that you look up to, from the magazines that you see, from what you see on TV, all of that. You've been, preference is, I know guys that will say, I only like lighter skinned women. That's not a preference, because my preference is tall, dark-skinned men. Like, Idris Elba, like, come on, that's like perfection to me.
But you're not doing light-skinned guys a disservice. We were actually speaking about this with the producer when we were talking about how we're gonna, you know, format the show, and they said, what about men? Because sometimes it can be the opposite effect for light-skinned men. You'll be like, yeah, he's a bit weak, or he's a bit, I'm not really in it. Yeah, he's a pretty boy. Do you know what I mean? So they kind of get the opposite of the privilege.
I've grown out of that now. I've grown. When I was maybe younger, you'd be like, oh gosh, like you said, it was socially constructed that if you're of a lighter complexion, then your baby's gonna come out looking cuter, because that's all I've been seeing. Do you know what I mean? That's what I've seen on TV. And that's all I know. But I've matured now. I've grown. I've been able to see the world from a different perspective, and from a black woman, how I've been treated. So things are totally different. So if I like someone, I like someone. Do you know what I mean? But that's because I know I'm mentally mature.
Do you sometimes feel like because of course he was bigging up the dark-skinned women, but he said sometimes some people are, you know, discriminated against because they're not black enough. So do you sometimes feel that light-skinned girls may feel that, you know, they are segregated because they are light-skinned? I have rarely seen a hashtag that says Team Light-Skin. I think light-skinned girls would be too shook, really, to do that.
No, I used to see.
Do you see a lot? I see a lot of Team Dark-Skin, you know, 100% melanin. And I think that's a good thing. But do you sometimes feel that, okay, come on, you know, if you're saying that about being dark-skinned, you know, what about the light-skinned girls? Whose responsibility is it then, Z, if it's not yours?
You have to take into consideration why certain hashtags have started.
Okay.
So darker skinned women for years have felt like we are the underdogs, that we are not appreciated. So then we started hashtags. We started the whole, you know, Team Melanin and whatever, all this Black Girl Magic. And Black Girl Magic is not even to do with just darker skinned females.
That's all black. That's all
black women.
All shades of black.
That hashtag started over like 5 years ago because the lady that started it, she felt like we was not represented. We weren't praised for our achievements. So a lot of things, like a lot of hashtags, come from a place of struggle, or we feel like we are not appreciated, so then we start something, and now it's just become such a big thing because everyone obviously resonates with it.
Very, very quickly, Lupita Nyong'o, Naomi Campbell, Viola Davis, the list goes on. Monica Lee, seen as she says she's not light-skinned, Zizzy Mills, Juliana. There are so many successful dark-skinned black women, aren't there?
There definitely are, but
the UK?
not in the UK, and in comparison to maybe lighter skinned women who have maybe got through the door, I don't feel like it's enough. But there definitely are, but it just shows you that there's definitely a problem, because all these people that you have just named have openly spoken about it. Viola Davis, she done something the other day, well, not the other day, it was quite a few years ago with Oprah Winfrey about colorism, and she was sitting down on the sofa and she was like, Oprah was saying, do you still think it exists? She was like, yeah, like me as a big time actress, I still experience it. I still get this, oh, you're not really suitable for that role because, you know, you're not really, you know, the pretty girl that we would, you know, do you get what I mean?
Typecast.
So it's still...
Same with Lupita in that slave role, but we've got to wrap it up. Zizi, you're coming back, you promise?
Of course.
Monica, nice to see you again. Lovely
you
speaking
too.
to these ladies. That's it from me, Juliana Olayinka, and my fantastic guests, Monica Lee and Zizi Mills. And don't forget, guys, Noni's now online. Wherever you are in the world, go to www.yangatv.com to check out every single episode. Join me next time for more Noni Chat. Goodbye.